Please make sure your cell phones are turned off or on silent vibrate. We'll stand for just a moment of silence in the place of the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good morning. Before we get started, for everybody's ears, I want to read the following: how we conduct our meetings on decorum. Decorum for a successful meeting is built on mutual respect between the membership and the presiding officer. Comments and statements relating to personal motives and to personalities should not be made or may be ruled out of order by the presiding officer. Proper decorum at a meeting is no more than the exercise of common courtesy, maintaining respect for the right of others. Presiding officer must require that the rules be followed at all times. Chairman should not permit conduct which is disgruntled, tedious, or dilatory. First thing on the agenda this morning is the approval of the minutes from the Board of Directors workshop from August the 6th. We have a motion. A motion to accept. Second?
I'll second.
Second by Ken. Any discussion on the minutes? Seeing none, they'll stand as submitted. Correspondence. Registered.
To the Brookridge Board of Directors. The Brookridge Men's Club requests that our next show, Bill B. Williams, on Sunday, October 27, 2019, be open to the public. Thank you, Tom DiGregorio, Brookridge Men's Club Secretary. I make a motion to approve the general public attendance to the Men's Club show Sunday, October 27, 2019 at 7 p.m.
I'll second. Motion to have a second. Second by Ken. Any discussion by the board? Comments from the audience? Seeing none, presuming ready to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
I have a letter here from James Segovia. He is with Merrill, the Bank of America, a Bank of America company. I read your most recent budget notes. Good morning, members of the board. My name is James Segovia, and I am with Merrill Lynch. I recently reviewed the town hall meeting information from July the 24th, 2019, and from August the 14th, 2019. In the information, I see where the board addressed a concern on the reserve funds and its return. I read where the board, acting as a fiduciary, must keep the funds as safe as possible. I believe Merrill Lynch can help. I would love an opportunity to sit down with the treasurer or the board and hear the board's thoughts, short and long-term money needs and expectations. I could then create a plan addressing the concerns of all involved. I would then present the plan for your review. I can be reached at his phone number. I look forward to hearing from you, James Segovia, Financial Advisor.
Thank you. General Manager's report.
Purchase orders over $2,000 for last month. Floor Designs LLC, $15,721 to finish the floor install. Florida Statute 720-306 requires that we must use for official mailings the address on file with the Hernando County Property Appraiser's Office. If you need help verifying the address, call the Brookridge office and ask what the county shipping address for your property is. If you need to change it, you must do so with a form that is also online at our website under frequently asked questions. The ladies' room sauna switch is replaced and back online. All clubhouse emergency exit lights are operational and inspected by the county fire marshal. The property with the AC stand denied is corrected and the violation is in compliance as of August 28th, 2019. Thank you.
That's a change from the manager's report.
Yeah, because it was corrected after.
From the 6th of August.
Yeah. It was corrected after the report was submitted.
Thank you. We have no unfinished business, new business. Appeals case. Mr. Sajak.
Let the record reflect the following paragraphs will be inserted into the appropriate AVRC case decisions when noted and herein after reference as paragraph A or paragraph B. Paragraph A, the fine and/or suspension of privileges imposed will continue until compliance is met. It is a violator's responsibility to notify the code enforcement officer if compliance is met. Upon verification of compliance, any fines or suspension of privileges after the initial suspension is served will cease upon payment of outstanding fines and/or administrative fees. Paragraph B, all action, punitive or otherwise, decided by the BCPO Board of Directors will go into effect immediately upon all reoccurrences of this violation, 12 months into the future. If a reoccurrence happens, fines and suspension of privileges will be imposed immediately until compliance is met in accordance with BCPO Rules and Regulations, Article 12, Section 3, and Section 6. Case number 8210, 14691 Rialto Avenue. Visitor driving Hyundai Tucson, Florida, tag DUD-T74, traveling 35 miles per hour on Brookridge Boulevard on 8/4/2019 at 10:33 hours. The recommended penalty for this fine is a $50 fine and suspension of 30 days of privileges. Paragraph B applies.
Is the violator here?
Yes, I'm the member. My name is Dominic.
You gotta get up to,
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
really doesn't matter.
Please come up to the podium. Be sure to use the microphone. State your name and your unit number, please.
You're on.
1 second.
Oh, I did it.
1 second.
I make a motion to uphold Brookridge governing documents and impose the stated penalties, $50 fine and 30-day suspension of privileges.
I have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Discussion.
My name is Dominic. My wife Marie couldn't be present with me.
The mic's not on.
My name is Dominic. Can you hear me?
Hello?
There you go. Yes. My name is Dominic Ilamo. My wife Marie couldn't be present with me. We're the residents where the violation was issued to at 14691 Rialto Avenue. We've been members since 2016, this month in September, so about 3 years now. Approximately 15 days between July 26th and August 9th, I was at home recovering from hip surgery, and there were numerous healthcare providers coming in to my unit to help me with my home care. And the complaint and the violation on August 4th was due to someone who was coming to my home to provide care. And so it appears that the rules are different for vendors or healthcare providers and the members. It looks like the rules for vendors states that vendors who don't comply with the rules are issued multiple warnings before any consequences or suspensions are issued to them, where in contrast that's different for the members. So I would submit to the board that due to the circumstances, being a healthcare provider, that the board would dismiss the fine and the suspension for my wife
Is this a licensed provider? Or is it just somebody that just is helping you out?
They were a minister to provide spiritual encouragement while I was
Well,
home.
then, if they're not a licensed caregiver or a care person, they are just like any normal visitor. So unless you could bring in documentation saying, I would think, and I can relay this to the board, if they're a licensed provider, they become a vendor, and they follow under vendor rules. If they are not a licensed by the state as a caregiver, then they're just a nobody and any other visitor coming into your home. And I think the one tag that got labeled here, I got 23 visits. I've counted 23 visits from, was that the other? That's the other one, I'm sorry.
That was somebody else, yeah.
So is this person licensed by the state?
No, they're not licensed.
They're just a visitor.
They're a minister.
Okay.
They're a minister.
Well, I would strongly suggest that anybody that you have coming to visit you in your home, I tell that to all my folks, anybody comes in to visit me, I said, please don't speak, because I'm responsible for you. So the issue here is this is not really a vendor, even though they're helping you out. My opinion.
Other comments from the board? Kevin Schubert, question. I'm under the assumption that when a licensed caregiver comes in the gate, they give that information to the front gate so the gate knows that they're a caregiver coming in. Is that?
If they identify themselves as home health or a health caregiver, then we do not take down their address. But if somebody comes in who is not a healthcare provider or or is licensed by the state, then we require them to sign in and register like any other visitor.
Thank you.
I can't be sure how they identified themselves at the gate that day. They had my name and the address, and I suspect that's just what they did was gave the name and the address so that they could get past security and come to my home.
Thank you. Other questions from the board? Seeing none. Comments from the audience?
Gail Metcalf, Unit 6. When you said that the vendors are treated differently than the visitors, was the question that you felt the visitors, it wasn't a question of him being a vendor. I think the question was, is the question that you're being fined because a visitor came to visit you, or was it because he was a vendor? Or is it just that vendors have a different set of rules than visitors do? That's the question. It wasn't the fact that he was a vendor, whether he's a vendor or not. and that's the question that he's asking. Is that what it is? Because they were a visitor of yours instead of a vendor. You're still, that's the question.
That's how I,
That's the question.
that's,
Not whether they were a vendor or not, but that's the question he's asking.
Which we replied to.
And we did reply to that. Seeing no others, I presume the board's ready to vote. All those in favor of the motion on the floor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
Greg, I just have one question for you. I'm not that familiar with the vendor rules because it usually doesn't come to the board. How many, are they given warnings?
For speeding?
Yes,
No,
I didn't think so. And then then they're not allowed in here for 2 weeks then, correct?
that is correct.
I have a question for the board then. Where would I pay my fine?
Go
And
up,
when?
go up to the front office. You could do that starting today.
Okay. And then the suspension would start and end?
Would start on today's date.
Mark.
Excuse me, tomorrow's date. Did you give a date in that?
We have it locked in on September 10th. The suspension will begin. A letter will be sent to the homeowner indicating the board's decision. And it's a 30-day for the fine, but the is now due in September 10th, and it'll run through October 10th.
Next case. Case number 8210, 14691 Rialto Avenue.
No.
Next case, 8209, 9569 Scepter Avenue. Visitor driving red Dodge Charger, Florida tag EB13, traveling 35 miles an hour on Brookridge Boulevard at 11:51 hours. The recommended penalty is $50 per occurrence and 30-day suspension of privileges. Paragraph B applies. I make a motion to accept our governing documents in this stated case.
I have a motion on the floor. We have a second. Mr. Matthews. Discussion by the board. Is Ms. Mead, are they here?
Nobody for 9569 Scepter Avenue?
Any discussions from the audience? Seeing none, I'll assume the board is ready to vote. All those in favor of the motion on the floor stated, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Rules and regulations, Ms. Steer.
The topic is Rules and Regulations Fee Schedule Update. The recommendation by the Finance Committee recommended updates for the BCPO fee schedule to increase the amount from $10 to $20 for barcodes over 2 barcodes per address. Increase the base fee from $20 to $25 per barcode to non-members, live-in, renters, or guests. Increase to $75 from $50 the charge for background check per person. Change the vendor plate charge to an annual fee annually, $20 each annually for each vendor plate, and $50 annually for 3 or more plates. And add vendor barcodes, $25 each annually, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. only, otherwise visitor entrance. The motion is to approve the changes to the BCPO fee schedule as submitted.
I have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second? I have a second by Ms. Smith. Discussion from the board. Discussion from the audience.
Gail Metcalf, Unit 6. It's more of a, just a clarification for everybody in Brookridge. The fee schedule, the fees from the fee schedule, does that go into other income?
Yes.
Yes, it does.
Okay. So when we have other income, that actually is funds that we receive so that we don't have to raise the fees, because about every $30,000 of other income is like $1 increase to the budget, or is it 35? I'm not sure. About 35. So that's the reason that this is a great. It's a sign in the right direction, and I thank the Finance Committee for addressing that.
How can we enforce the vendors if they come after 7 p.m. when they say they have to use the other side? Is that possible to enforce that?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it'd be an activation code
They-
on that barcode. It would not open it before or afterwards.
Okay, they're set. Thank you.
I'd like to raise one point on the vendor plates. We're looking at raising the income, and the vendor plates currently states refunded if the plate is returned in good condition, which doesn't give us income. It gives us money that we need to owe. Well, I'm going to say it, and then I'm going to let somebody else, if they want to make the amendment or the amendment to the amendment. I've spoken with Captain Schubert on it, and would like to remove that, refunded if in good condition. That would leave it as income and not be returned back to the vendor. Would be something we'd have to keep up with on an annual basis. At the same point with bookkeeping problem on that. So, Mr. Giroux, am I out of order if I make that amendment change, or would somebody else need to?
It's not that amending it, it would have to be obviously from this point going forward, so we would have to be separating what we have in inventory going forward. All these are non-refundable vendor plates, which we, again, this blank year stare is something I have not researched, looked into, how many plates we're referring to, so I don't know if it's going to be a big issue. I would ask that if we just proceed with as is, and we can always in the future come back with the vendor plate modifications in the fee schedule if we find it to be necessary to separate, announce that the vendor plates will now be non-refundable.
And I would accept that. Any other discussion? Podium name.
Big deal, Area 6. That $50 fee for 3 we should be clear that that's for 3 or more. I mean, they can get 8 vehicles in here for that $50 charge. Somebody, just to be clarified.
Yeah, it's stated on there, $30 annually for 3 or more. Any others? Seeing none, I'll presume we're ready to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. That's Mr. Mrs.
The topic is the 2020 proposed budget and reserve funding. The recommendation is to send the proposed budget and reserve funding plan to the membership for approval. The proposed motion is motion to accept the Finance Committee's proposed budget and reserve funding plan and mail to membership for a vote.
I have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
I have a second from Mr. Sajak. Discussion from the board. Seeing none, discussion from the audience. Oh, excuse me. Mr. Matthews.
I got a statement I want to read. I understand and agree that Brookridge must raise their fees and assessments in order to meet their budget, and we can continue to live in our wonderful lifestyle. But I feel it's ironic that it comes at a time that, in my opinion, that this board mismanaged thousands of dollars remodeling the clubhouse floor.
I don't know how to answer that, Mr. Matthews. Was this from a member, a resident?
It's from me.
It's from you? You feel that we mismanaged
Yes.
the budget? So you don't feel that we should go forward with this budget that we worked on?
No, this is what I said. I said I understand and agree that Brookridge must raise their fees and assessments in order to meet their budget. I just feel they mismanaged the clubhouse. My opinion.
Other discussion on the budget? Seeing none, I'll presume we're ready to vote. All those in favor of the budget as presented signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. I apologize, I've got a frog in my throat. I can't do it this morning. Next is a deed restriction amendment, Article 3, Section 27, usage fees. Topic is usage fees analysis. In order to charge for exclusive use items, the deed restriction would need to be updated. To include, the recommendation is to include the attached deed restriction amendment for Article 3, Section 27, and the 2020 budget vote mailing. Proposed motion to approve adding the proposed amendment to Article 3, Section 27 to the 2020 budget vote mailing package. I have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
Second.
I have a second by Ms. Smith. Any discussion? I'm just trying to decide if I want to read this whole thing or not, so give me a second. It's a long read and my voice is right there. I'm going to try and suffer through this. Proposed amendment to the amended, restated, and consolidated restriction agreement for Brookridge Community. Article 3, Section 27 of the amended, restated, and consolidated restriction agreement for Brookridge Community is amended to read as follows. Section 27, right of the BCO to charge fees for the use of community pool and exclusive use of amenities. The section that would be added would be and exclusive use of amenities. persons 12 years of age and older using BCPO community pool must have a BCPO issued pool card in their possession at the time they enter the pool and shall display same to any BCPO employee or representative on request. That's the paragraph from section 27. That's exactly the way it's written. The only change would be the addition of and exclusive use for amenities. Item A would be added to read as follows. The following shall apply regarding the community pool. That's in addition to that section. Item A, as it's listed now, would become item 1. It currently reads, for safety reasons, individuals under the age of 12 years of old age must be accompanied by a parent guardian when using the BCPO community pool. That would change to read, individuals under the age of 12 years must be accompanied by an adult who can swim when using the BCPO community pool. Item B would be changed strictly to number 2, no change in the wording on that. Item C would become number 3, no change in the wording on that. Item B would be added to read as follows. The BCPO may charge a reasonable fee for the exclusive use of any BCPO amenity for purposes of this section. Quote, exclusive use, end quote, will mean that the amenity or a specific part of the amenity is taken or reserved for the exclusive use of one owner and guests and invitees of the owner to the exclusion of other owners. Said fees shall be set in the rules and regulations. That would then become Article 3, Section 27, if the board approves this as it's written, and if it's approved by the membership in the vote in November. Discussion.
Is there a reason why we changed 1 for safety reasons? Can we still keep that in there?
Attorney felt that even for safety reasons and for the fact that we have people that would keep them safely, that's why it's labeled strictly as an adult who can swim.
Okay.
Other comments from the board? Ken?
I have one comment. During the town hall meetings, this was brought up, and I just want to bring this to the forefront to the people that were not there. A member brought up reasonable fee. Now, if we were to say there's a reasonable fee of $10 for something, in the deed restriction, you cannot change that. If you want to raise it 50 cents or a penny, you cannot change that, because it's written in stone in the deed restriction. That's why there is no dollar or monetary amount labeled in this paragraph, because it will never be able to change unless it voted the membership. So you'd have to wait a whole new year to change that. Once anything is written in the deed restriction, that is the Bible. It cannot be changed until the vote of the membership. I just want to throw that out there, people that weren't there at the meeting.
Other comments from the board? Seeing none. Comments from membership?
I really don't want to be sitting up there, but Gail Metcalf, Unit 6. Okay, I was at that last town hall meeting, and even at the last meeting, and people were making comments on the side. We need people to remember that the original deed restriction that's been written for 25 plus years was Section 27, right of BCPO to charge fee for the use of community pool. That's always been there. It is not something new, because there is, if anybody wanted to use the pool, there was a fee that would be charged. It's not in this, it's in the fee schedule and the rules and regulations. The only thing that we're changing is the exclusive use of amenities. I just have a question about that. Where you have an A, the following shall apply regarding the community pool, is it possible for the B to say exclusive use of amenities, so it separates, it shows all of the, well, it just says B, but people aren't, the regular public is not looking at it like that. They're looking at it as part of the pool, and that's one of the things that I'm hearing, and we want to make sure that this gets passed, because this is another part of other income, so that if somebody wants to use a facility privately, they pay for it, and every time somebody pays for it, don't forget, every $35,000 that gets given to us in other income is worth $1 of our assessment. So when you look at the budget, even there's $5 on there. That's what other income is. We would be paying $5 more per month if we didn't have any other income. It's just a question and a comment.
We could look at that. I know that's why A was added
Yeah.
in there to specifically identify rules that apply to the pool,
Yeah.
to signify that out. Other discussion from congregation, audience? Say amen, brother. Go before you. Name and unit, please.
Gary Owens, Unit 3. I know that when we start these rules and regulations and restriction changes, they seem so simple at first. Then they get finite as we move along. However, I'm just wondering, on the adult who can swim, how are we going to know, or what have you thought about, if we're going to certify that this person can swim? Is this going to be an honor system of, yeah, I can swim, I used to be a frogman? Or is it going to be, no, I can't swim? So how are we going to certify that this person can swim?
We won't certify on it. Simply at that point, asking the person, can they swim? If they signify yes, then we'll take their word for it. If they're there and they can't, there's not a thing we can do about it. But as far as certification, all they're going to be asked is, can they swim? If they signify yes.
This is for liability, right? I mean,
we're under the same liability whether they ask or not.
Okay, thank you.
I would like to think that they would be able to swim if it was their family member or someone, a loved one, that they would not falsify that.
Well, swimming is,
Well, I'm
comes
just
in
saying.
all flavors.
Well, it can come in all flavors, but when you're responsible for an individual 12 years and under, I would think that honesty would show of some type or loyalty.
I was just wondering.
Other comments from the audience? Seeing none, I'll presume the board is ready to vote. All those in favor of the motion on the floor stated, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Ms. Webster.
My topic is the 2020 budget and amendment vote. Include online digital voting in the budget and amendment vote for November 19, 2019. Budget and amendment vote. Recommendation, approve bpballot.com of Becker Lawyers to process the Brookridge online voting process for the 2020 budget and amendment vote. I make a motion to approve the bpballot.com for $700 annual subscription for online voting processing.
I have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second? Second. I have a second by Mr. Matthews. Discussion by the board. Yes, Ms. Leary.
This fee, it says annual subscription. As it states, it's for the budget vote. Would this also apply to our annual vote for the board of directors, the vote that comes up in March? Would this fee encompass that too?
Yes, it would.
Very good.
Other discussion from the board, Ms.
I would like to know or be assured that it would be proofread before we go on with it because of an incident last time.
I would agree, and they did get that passed one time. We apologize for that last year, so, yes, thanks, we'll do due diligence on that to make sure that it's correctly written. Other discussion from the board? Discussion from the audience? Seeing none, I'll presume the board is ready to vote. All those in favor of the motion on the floor as stated signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Next agenda item is the sealed bid sale of BCPO property at 14371 Acre. In accordance with the rules and regulations, Article 6, Section 1, the sale of BCPO lots or homes shall be conducted by sale bid and conducted at a scheduled board meeting. Bidders can contact the administration office Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. for the key. Winning bids must complete the closing within 30 days or forfeit their deposit. 10% of the bid is required with a sealed bid. Motion is to place the BCPO property located at 14371 Decatur, a 3-bedroom, 2-bath for sealed bid sale. Minimum bids of $35,000 to be opened at the board meeting on Tuesday, December 3rd, 2019, 9 a.m. No financing is available. I have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
I have a question.
I have a second by Ms. Smith. Discussion by the board.
I have a question.
I had to wait till after I had a second to the motion.
I'm sorry, I apologize.
It's okay.
On the page with the increases, it says sealed bids, bid deposit, 10% of the amount bid. Does that mean if they bid, they have to have 10%, or does that mean Brookridge gets 10%?
No, it means when they bid, if they bid 40,000, they have to
Give
submit a check with it for 4,000.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Other discussion from the board? Seeing none, discussion from the audience? Seeing none, I'll presume you're ready to vote. All those in favor of the motion on the floor as stated, signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Last item on the agenda is the formation of an ad hoc committee on the clubhouse wainscoting stain color. Recommendation: stain wainscoting to a color that complements the new flooring and ties in with the other wooden structures in the clubhouse. Proposed motion is to create an ad hoc committee to review colors and stains for the wainscoting and bring their recommendation to the board for action by October 16, 2019. I have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second? I have a second by Ms. Smith. Discussion by the board.
Do we know who's going to do this work, please?
No, I'm sorry.
Who's going to do the work
Who's going to do the work?
for the wainscoting to be installed?
The stain.
The stain, yes.
Will-
Is that us?
It will be us.
Okay, thank you. So there's no labor charges to us?
No. We might give you a donut or something, but that's about it. Maybe a donut, maybe two. Other discussion from the board? Discussion from the audience? I keep wanting to call you a congregation, so forgive me from time to time.
Paul Harrison, Unit 4. On the wainscot. I've done many staining jobs. I've seen contractors doing work. They always stain with polyurethane varnish before the product is put up on the wall. Simplest way to go. Now you're going to have to take the floors, tape everything. You're going to take handrails down. And this is time consuming. I've always seen staining then putting your product up where it has to be put up. Nothing like this. A suggestion would be, you can use polyurethane. It'll last nice semi-gloss, something like that, that would last probably many, many years and give a nice appearance once it's put on. But I'm just saying, this should have been done prior to the product being put up on the walls. Thank you.
Volunteer for the ad hoc committee?
And normally, Mr. Harrison, that would have been done. We did have people screaming to get that up and go from there. And yes, the ad hoc committee, if it's approved, would be looking for volunteers to be on that to give their suggestions and comments and make their recommendation back to the board. I would look forward to seeing your name on that committee list. Other comments from the audience?
Thank you for volunteering.
Your time is appreciated. 2 donuts, Paul. Other discussion from the audience? Seeing none, I'll presume the board is ready to vote. All those in favor of the motion on the floor as stated, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Reported directors, I'll start at my right hand end with Mr. Matthews.
I have the report.
We thought our time was up.
I have the report from the Brookridge RV Compound Recording Secretary Linda Walls. RV Compound Committee meeting was held August 28, 2019, 4 p.m. at the home of Ken Walls. In attendance was Larry Schmitz, Gary Thomas, Wes Bookamer, Lucy DeGuaya, Johnny Thurman, Margie Violet, Frank Matthews, Ken Walls, and Linda Walls. First, Linda and Ken would both like to thank all who attended this meeting and thank Johnny Thurman for coming on board. Everyone was given an updated copy of the rules and regulations. We discussed the 2 new amendments to the rules and regulations. Various questions were asked and answered on the RV compound in general. It was a great meeting and everyone wants to do it again. There was a lot of good input. The major concerns were we have some units on lots that can be moved to smaller lots and given the larger units room to move on to larger lots so that they can abide by the new rule of 30 inches off the fence line. Plus, there's a lot of debris, broken pavers, broken bricks, old carpet with grass growing through it, boards and other items. These items need to be removed so lawn maintenance can be done. Thank you. Can I give one more? I want to give a thank you to Linda Stewart and her helper on the sign, Kathleen Wilson. Kathleen Wilson is covering for Linda Stewart. Well, Linda Stewart is up north, and I've never met Kathleen. I know Linda well, but Kathleen is talking with the contractors on site and relaying the messages to Linda, and Linda is talking to contractors via telephone, and I think they are both doing a wonderful job, and I'd like to thank them.
You all have the budget. I'd like you to look it over, and at the town meeting next week, I believe it's next Wednesday evening, if you have questions about the budget, I'd be happy to answer them at that time. I would like to thank my finance committee. They worked very, very hard to get this budget together so that the board could approve it. Michelle Adams, Mary Astori, Lucy DeGere, Peter Deal, Beverly Epstein, and Diane Heckenbach. Ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate all the work you did putting this together. We hammered all the figures back and forth. You don't know. We were actually we didn't get to it, but we were going to have a wine and cheese party after, but we never, maybe we'll get that approved later on. But I'm saying we worked very, very hard to get this budget, and we feel that it's amenable to everybody. It's not a lot of money. It comes to pennies. And If we're going to keep this community running the way it is and looking the way it is, we need this budget passed. So I thank everybody, and I thank the ladies and Peter for all the help they gave me. And I already have a couple of them who said, can I be on it next year? So I guess I have a positive group. Thank you.
Nothing right now from the beautification. I've got some other issues to bring up, but I'll wait for member comments.
I have nothing.
First of all, I'd like to address the audience and all the homeowners. Please spread the word to pass the budget. Please, we need it. We love living here. We live in a beautiful place. Let's keep it beautiful. Let's be proud of our homes and our community. The Finance Committee did a wonderful job trying to keep the budget down and getting things in the reserve funds, and please be proud of them and thank them. Second of all, the landscapers that come in here. I do a lot of walking in the morning, and I see them without cones behind their trailers. I don't see anybody's name on the vehicles, so you can't blame anybody who's blowing pine cones and grass out into the street. I think they need to be held accountable, especially the ones that are getting these plates to get in and out of here. And last, I'm not sure that we still have a recording secretary. I have not seen him or her in the past 2 or 3 meetings. Do we still have one?
Yes.
What, can you tell me where or why, or
I know they're doing double duty down at the office. Meetings are being recorded and transcribed by her. Normally she would be here, but due to some personnel issues at the office, we need to keep personnel there also.
Okay. Thank you.
Since we started member comments, I'll come back the other way. Ms. Webster, member comments?
No, nothing.
Ms. Smith?
I have a few. Number one is everybody here and out in TV land. Tomorrow is a blood drive up here at the clubhouse from 10 until 2 in the South Hall. So I would encourage everybody that can give blood to please come and give blood. We don't know what the east side of our state is, the condition is going to entail. So I would encourage everybody that's able to give blood to please come and give blood. And that, again, is tomorrow, Wednesday, 10 to 2, here in the South Hall. My number 2 item is our front sign. Woohoo! It's coming along. It's looking good. The concrete's poured. It's a 10-day wait to get approval from the county. It has to cure for 10 days before they can go on to the next step. I do want to thank Gold Star Realty for stepping up and giving us a considerable donation. We're still short about $650 to $700, but I'm still after Register Chevrolet, so hopefully by the time the sign is done, we'll have raised all the money for the sign. And I think it's going to be amazing, and I just can't wait to see the finished product. And again, when Linda Stewart comes back for all of her effort that she's put into the sign, I want to see the smile on her face when she sees our new sign. Excuse me for emotion. Number 3, everybody, we've got a start on the Brookridge Fall Festival, and I would encourage, it's November the 30th, from 10 until 4, all kinds of activities, car shows, music, But we are looking for volunteers to help the day of the festival. Not to put in the whole day at the festival, but if you can give an hour or two to help out with whatever games, collecting for the Share the Wealth. So just some of those things we need some volunteers for. And the fourth thing, and the final thing, is just to remind my singles out there in TV land or wherever that we're finally back on board for the singles. We've held off on the singles, waiting for the clubhouse so that we didn't put any additional stress on Vince. But Sunday from 6 to 8, we're going to have a wine and cheese. We'll supply the wine if our volunteers or our members can bring, or any new singles out there. You don't even have to bring anything, just come and enjoy the wine and cheese. We always have plenty. So that's all I've got for now. Thank you.
Just like to remind everybody, this Saturday, the social dance is having a dance from 7 to 10 p.m. Johnny Lobo is our entertainer for the evening, and I believe we have tickets available, so you can contact Val Stratton if you want to come to the dance Saturday night. And unfortunately, I can't supply the umbrella drinks. But please come. We had a ball the last one, so please come. We have tickets available.
I just have a question for Ron. You brought up that the house on the boulevard was brought into compliance, and I was just wondering what they had to do to get that house in compliance with the air conditioner.
Is that the end of your member comments, or do I need to wait?
That's it for me.
That's it for you?
Enough?
Never. The house that you're referring to with the air conditioner had to remove the construction material that they had that was in the right-of-way and keep the air conditioner by county permit up off the ground. They complied with that with cantilever and passed with security. There were several member comments that were made in the past couple of meetings, and I want to be able to address those for you so that you've got answers to those. Question was asked, why isn't the board advised of things happening instead of just at the meetings? I'm going to presume that was in regards to the board not being advised that we had to bring a new contractor in when the floor was there. That was a decision that was made between myself and our general manager, Ray Giroux, along with Vince, sitting there looking at where we had to have things. My oversight for not advising the board that they had a new contractor coming in. We needed to move along. People wanted the floor done as well as the wainscoting. So we made the decision to move forward from there. Question was asked in regards to why we gave the contractor $87,000. $87,000 we gave them as an initial payment was for all of the flooring, plus whatever they were going to use it for as far as labor. We have no idea of what the breakdown was in that. That was the amount needed to purchase the flooring. And just as a side note for that, due to the contractor's handling of his money and financial problems that he had with a couple other people, he did not get all the flooring purchased. We had to purchase additional flooring directly from the manufacturer and have it shipped directly here. But the $87,000 that was given to him was not for his labor. That was for the flooring material and any laborers he was going to break it out with his people. Question was asked, were they the highest bidder? Yes, they were the highest bidder. The other bids were for 12 by 12 tiles, so it was a completely different amount. Why the approval of a different amount, $56, what was the difference? Original contract was for $126,000 $780. The board met on a Wednesday evening on 4/17, and by consensus approved to go with a thicker tile that made our budget $134,300. That's an increase of $7,500 over what the bid was that this board approved. That did not include, and none of the bids that were submitted included any cost for floor prep. That was something that was going to have to be weighed and determined at a given time as they did the work. The difference of another $21,367 is in the report that Ray read and each of the board members received, included the following amounts. To Tony Chernock and Nelson Aguilar, both who were employed by the previous contractor, and as a result of his failure to pay, we, Brookridge, were responsible and had to pay them. If we had not paid them, they would have filed liens against the property, which would have tied us up. To avoid them filing liens against, we retained the lien releases. Tony received $2,146. Nelson received $3,500. In addition to that, Floor Designs, who finished our work, was $11,985. In addition to that, for some additional floor prep of $3,736 to Floor Designs. That totals $27,367. If you took the original bid that we approved as a board, the bid that the consensus of the board approved to go to the thicker tile that we had put down, and added that 21,000, you would see where the total comes up to $158,835 in charges, and total of which with the additional was $170,000. Funds were properly allocated, they were held by, and in no place along the line was there any problem with the funds that were issued out by this board or the general manager. I hope that answers your questions from the last two meetings in regards to the flooring and the issues that relate to the flooring. I'll now open the floor to member comments. Name and unit number.
Paul Harrison, Unit 4. I brought up at the last two meetings, and the answers has not been given, not even today. At the April workshop meeting, the floor that you were leaning to was not this white floor. We pointed out at that particular time. Why did we go to a white floor, which is going to be harder to maintain? Was it cheaper than the other floor? That's my question.
Paul, I believe that actually was answered. I'll go back and review that to make sure, but just to give you an additional on top of that, the flooring that we actually looked at in the first place was actually a little bit lighter than this floor that's down.
It was a mixed tannish or off-white, but it wasn't white that you were leaning to at that particular time.
The flooring that the board looked at and approved was actually a little bit lighter than the floor that's down. This flooring is actually a little darker than the floor that we first approved. That's
Gail Metcalf, Unit 6. I was actually going to ask another question, but because of the comments that I made, I just want to say there's already been a social dance